right, it says we're live, but I do not believe it. Therefore, I reject. All right. Shalom. All right. First and foremost, I want to say, Call Allah Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai Ba'Hashem Rakakwadash. The honors be to the apostles and the others of Great Millstone Road Well. So this up a little bit. The honors be to the apostles and the others of Great Millstone Road Well. Peace, blessing, salutations to the hopeful elect. All right, Lord, let this lesson is edifying to the lambs of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai. All right, which is the entire purpose of this video. I entitled this video More Than Meets the Eye. All right, this is something I was thinking about a little earlier. I was like, you know what, make a lesson of this. I touched on this in a previous lesson, just briefly, and I'm not going to explain what I'm about to show because I want to, it's kind of part of the lesson. I'm going to explain it after I show it. All right, but it's more than meets the eye. All right, because I'm going to show you two people. All right. I'm going to show you two different people. All right. Now, they're not related, anything like that. One of these people is going to receive the kingdom of heaven and rule in the kingdom of heaven. One of them is going to be a slave in the kingdom of heaven. Okay. One of them is of the chosen seed line, all right, through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and one of them is an Edomite. Okay, and I'm going to show you these two. One is of the nation of Israel, and the new covenant applies to this person. The other one will go into hardcore bondage for 1,000 years. All right, and their people have done nothing but rape, rob, and murder us. This is one of the people I'm going to show you. All right, one that I'm speaking of. All right, and this is the other one. Now, somebody that is carnal-minded, will say, well, this is obviously the person that's going to inherit the kingdom of heaven. Look at her skin, look at her hair, even look at her features. And they'll say, this person is obviously the Edomite. This person is obviously the one that will go into slavery. Now, as brothers in this truth, sometimes we may make inferences on somebody because, they may be distant or we just see them on TV or whatever. We may not know them like that. We may not have been able to try the spirit, so we may pass it off as this or that. Okay? But us here at the Great Millstone, we examine the whole matter, which is what the scriptures tell you to do with everything. So before you're quick to pass judgment off on this person, you need to understand the whole matter. The whole matter is the person you're looking at on the screen is most likely from the tribe of Asher, all right, who will inherit the kingdom of heaven and will be ruling in the kingdom of heaven, which more than likely, he isn't, well, Lord will, that he repents, but more than likely, but he's of the nation of Israel is the point. Okay. The other person I showed you is an Edomite, most likely. Okay, based off what I've heard and what I know. She will be in hardcore bondage. Okay, she will be a slave in the kingdom of heaven. She is an Edomite. So for people to say we're the black Hebrew Israelites, well, that's just a bold-faced lie. Because brothers have brought this out, and through the Spirit I'm bringing it out right now, this person is not of our people. And this person is. Which one of these two people is considered black in society? And which one would be considered white? It's very obvious. But the one that's considered white is an Israelite. The one that's considered black is an Edomite. So this is not about color. And us, that are sincerely pushing this truth and dealing with the sound doctrine, understanding it's not about color. In fact, even in the ancient world, it was never about color. You read through the scriptures, there's never an instance where somebody's like, well, I'm an Israelite because I'm dark skinned. Nobody ever said that. It was always based off of your father's lineage. People had the records of their patrilineal, okay? Which, of course, we don't have that today. So how do we determine who is and who isn't an Israelite? How do we know we're Israelites? Through the curses, the scriptures, through spiritual discernment. We judge the spirit by the spirit. All right, Romans 8 and 16. All right, this is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 11, verse 2. It says, commend not a man for his beauty, neither abhor a man for his outward appearance. Right, so you're not supposed to hate somebody for how they look. Okay, so even dealing with the nation of Edom, which is primarily the Caucasoid race, we don't hate them because they're pale skin, because they have stringy hair and blue eyes. Some of them have blue eyes. We don't hate them because of that. We hate them because they're the seed of the wicked. We hate them because their soul is not upright in them. We hate them because they're the nation that has oppressed us the most. All right, because they are the wicked. They're the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan. That's who they are. That's why we hate them, not because of how they look. All right, this was never based upon appearance. We never had beef with the Edomites because of their appearance. It's because of who they are, their stock. That's why we hate them. Okay? Let me go ahead and get this, because believe it or not, it goes according to your father's lineage. And unless you can trace your father's lineage all the way back to one of the sons of Jacob, you have no way of knowing carnally that you're actually an Israelite. You have no idea what different nations your family has mixed and mingled with over the past thousands upon thousands of years. That's way too far, way too long. All right? Ain't no DNA test or Ancestry.com looking up family trees and all that shit. It's not going to get you thousands and thousands of years back. It's not going to. Okay? Most people are lucky to even know who their actual dad is, or their grandpa, or their great grandpa, let alone their ancestor from 2,000 years ago. How much more so even before that? You see? So it's all based off of the spirit. That's the only reason why any of us know we're Israelites, is because of the spirit. All right, because we come into this truth. We fell under the curses. All right, because we believe on Yahweh Shema Shai in truth and sincerity. That's how we know we're Israelites. All right, this is Numbers chapter 1, verse 18. It says, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month. And they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers. So that's how we determined who was and who wasn't an Israelite, their father. Okay? It says, according to the number of names from 20 years old and upward, so like by their pose. Let's go and get this word pedigree. Damn, I was hoping they were gonna. It says pedigree. It says the recorded ancestry, especially upper class ancestry of a person or family. So the father's lineage, the patrilineal, all right, is what it's referred to as. If I'm not mistaken, it's the patrilineal. Relating to or based on relationship to the father or descent through the male line. Because remember, the man plants the seed. All right, same goes with the apple seed. All right, doesn't matter which country you plant it in, you're gonna get an apple tree, and it may even vary in how it looks, or some may grow bigger, small, whatever the case may be. But the point is, it's an apple tree, regardless of the soil, which the woman is the soil. The man carries the seed. All right, this isn't health class, so I'm not going to, break it down to the T, but you know where the seed comes from, man. It comes from the man's sack, okay? So the man carries the seed and the woman nurtures it, all right? So like I said, the ancestry goes according to the patrilineal, all right, your father's lineage. So especially over time, especially if you don't even know who your father is, which is a common curse for Jake, how would you know? You wouldn't. You don't. Okay? It's all based off of the spirit. So for somebody to, cast off Israelite foreigners Israelites that may come looking like other nations because of how they look, the Lord is not dealing with you. All right, which Lord will, you repent and get right, but the Lord is not dealing with you in that current state. Because the Lord literally told Samuel, don't think I've rejected him because of his countenance, because he looks on the heart. He doesn't see as man sees. All right, the Lord knows who is and isn't an Israelite. Okay. It says Romans 8:16, the Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of God. So that's how we know we're Israelites, by the Spirit. We try the Spirit by the Spirit. We know now, given we may know certain type of ethnic backgrounds that are more likely or less likely to be Jake, but we base our judgment off of how a person carries themselves, how they act, things of that nature. All right. Because me personally, sometimes I look up somebody's surname or I'll see what their ethnic background is, because there's more to it than white. You got Italians, you got Irish, you got Germans, you got French, British, you got all these different types of ethnic backgrounds. And a lot of these places Jake was occupying. And it's not even just there. All right. In these Americas too, they mix and mingle with these other nations. All over the planet Earth, all these nations have mixed and mingled together, especially now because it's not looked down upon, which in Europe, there was a point in time where it wasn't looked down upon either. Okay. And with that, you also get terrorists. Because these other camps, they're always talking about the rape, rob, and murder that Esau Edom has done. Keyword in that is the rape, but they never talk about terrorists. Well, you can't just have rape, and no seed line to go with that. Esau's seed line has spread throughout so-called dark skin as well. I was watching a history video. It was a crash course video dealing with the Haitian Revolution, and they talked about how the slave masters would sleep with the slave women, and they had their children, and they talked about how they freed their children. Their children are Edomites, if they're Edomites, okay, which majority of them were and are. So their seed line continues today, but as a so-called Negro. Now, you can't just ask simply plain, well, what is your father? Because it goes much beyond that. Because somebody could say, well, my father's black, but his great-great-grandfather on his father's side could be a cracker, and you would never know that based off of how he looks. He may not even know that, but you see the way he maneuvers, how he operates, his spirit, and you see that he's not an Israelite, man. Okay? So the sure way to know that you're an Israelite is coming into this word, all right, because it tells you that none of the wicked shall understand. All right, I believe that's Daniel 12:10. All right, but the point being, which let me go ahead and show you the father, because we're going to examine the whole matter. Now, because people may, especially the scoffers may be a smart ass. Well, how do you know that she's an Edomite? Because her father could be Israelite foreigner. You're right. And that is a possibility. Okay, but based off of the spirit, once again, the things that I know, she's an Edomite. All right, but you're absolutely right if you say that. That smart ass comment is actually an intelligent comment to make, because you have Bob Marley. Bob Marley's father is so-called white, but he's an Israelite. Okay. So, although Bob Marley's an Israelite, which of course means his father's an Israelite, he's still a good example to use, showing that color doesn't matter, and it doesn't show you much, because most people probably don't even know that. Some people that do know that probably don't even believe that, even still, because they're carnal minded. It tells you, let me go ahead and get it, because I believe it's in the same chapter, as a matter of fact. Yep. Romans 8:6 down to 7, it says, for to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Because the carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be. Part of being carnal minded is basing somebody's nationality off of their looks. Esau is carnal. We're supposed to be the spiritual people. Okay, it says carnal, relating to physical, especially ignore that part, but it's relating to physical. All right, things that you see with your naked eye. All right, carnal minded. So saying somebody's an Edomite, saying he's an Edomite, that's carnal minded. Saying she's a Jake, that's carnal minded, because it goes much deeper than that. Okay, not to mention, I'm gonna throw this out there. There's probably a very small percentage of Israelites today that would be quote unquote 100% Jake. More than likely, they mix and mingle with a heathen nation, even if it was thousands of years ago. Because according to some of these guys, they say that if a man that's an Israelite marries a heathen woman, has intercourse with her, has children, which intercourse, sex is marriage. All right, but that's a whole nother lesson. That child is not an Israelite because both parents need to be Jake. That's not what the scriptures say. The scriptures say it's according to your father. Okay, and in fact, once again, because to tie into with what I just said, if that was the case, Israel would be through. Do you realize how many, bro? You seem to think that you're just you're 100% pure Israelite. No, somewhere in the past thousands upon thousands of years, your family has integrated with heathen nations. Okay? And of course, it's not going to be noticeable now, but it's happened. So that would make you not an Israelite either. All right, so stop being carnal minded. Stop being simple as hell. It goes only according to your father's lineage. Okay? Only according to your father. You see? So, because you got to figure, even with Jake in West Africa, you think they weren't mingling with Hamites? You think something like, come on, man. And besides that, let me go ahead and get an example. This is, I believe it's in Chronicles. Yep. Let's look at this. Well, first, Moses' wife, Zipporah, right? Her father was a priest and prince of Midian. Were the Midianites Jakes? No. No, they were not. They were not. Okay. In fact, let me see if we can. Yeah, the Midianites did not. They're not Israelites, man. that was clear. Which, unless this is a different Midian, I don't believe it is, though. But the point is, the point is that the Midianites are not Israelites. Because some people have same names, but what it appears like is that Midian came out of Abraham. If I read that right. See what the Hebrew word is for Midian. It says, looks like Madian, son of Abraham. So yeah. Yeah, so this isn't because if they were Israelites, they would have came out of Isaac and Jacob. This isn't a tribe of Israel. There's no tribe, the tribe of Midian. No, this was a whole nother nation. So, which now given at times in the Bible will say, a different nation, but the person could be a Jake just scattered amongst them. But Moses' wife was not an example of that. All right, majority of the time, it's not the case. So Zipporah is a Midianite. All right, she is a heathen. She's from one of the 17. She's not a Jake. Okay, there's the point. She's not an Israelite. All right. So Moses had 2 sons with Zipporah. So according to you guys, Moses' sons are not Israelites. Okay. Now that's where we go back to the scriptures. This is 1 Chronicles chapter 23 and verse 15. The sons of Moses were Gershom and Eleazar. So those were his 2 sons who Zipporah, let's just look her up one more time. Those were her 2 sons. They came out of her stomach. Okay? Verse 16. Oh, so lucky. I meant to read 14. First Chronicles 23 and 14. Now concerning Moses, the man of God, his sons were named of the tribe of Levi. So Gershom and Eleazar, although their mother was a heathen, they were named of the tribe of Levi. So they're Israelites from the tribe of Levi. Why? Numbers 1 and 18. Because it goes by your father. One more example. And this is one of my favorite examples. This is 1 Kings chapter 14, verse 31. It says, and Rehoboam, who was a king of Judah, mind you, would a heathen be a king over Judah? Come on, man. It's in the scriptures that it's off to put a heathen as king above you, to have him rule over you. So why would the Lord allow a heathen to be the king of Judah? This is right after King Solomon, his reign. It says, and Rehoboam slept with his fathers and was buried, and his fathers, or Salakia, was buried with his fathers in the city of David. So clearly they didn't give a fuck that his mom was a heathen, okay? Because he was an Israelite from the tribe of Judah. It says, and his mother's name was Naamah, an Ammonitess. And Abijam, his son, reigned in his stead. But what did it say? Naamah and Ammonitess. Now, hold on. I'm going to figure this shit out. Let's pull up the chart. And I'm only doing this for edification's sake. I'm not, trying to make a joke or nothing. Boom, right here, right? Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Ephraim, Manasseh, Simeon, Zebulun, Gad, Reuben, Asher, Issachar, Naphtali. I didn't see Ammon on there. Well, let's look at this. Let's take a look at this. Maybe, since it's not on the 12 tribes, maybe it's on this chart. Edom, Elam, Asher, Aram, Ishmael, Moab, Ammon. Imawan, Japanese. So she would be a so-called Japanese person today. So wait, his mom was a so-called Japanese woman, an Ammonite, but he was still king over Judah because he was a Judite through his father's seed line. Okay, see, so this isn't rocket science. It goes by the father's seed line, but since we can't trace the father's seed line all the way back to a tribe, it goes by the Spirit. You see, it goes by the Spirit. So now to close this lesson out, because I believe the point has been solidified. Once again, this is the Israelite and this is the Edomite. Now check this out, all right? Case in point. This is his father. All right, if you're familiar with soccer, who many people in the world call football, this is Neymar. He's not no damn Edomite. Okay, he's a straight up Jake. You see? He's a straight up Jake. He's most likely from the tribe of Asher. He's Brazilian. All right? That's his son. That's what you saw in the pictures. That's his seed. So does that make him an Edomite because of how he looks? No. We just went over it. All right, now this is Tracy Ellis Ross, who people would regard as black. People wouldn't regard Neymar's son as black, even though they may regard Neymar as black. So let's see how double-minded people are, because people are carnal-minded. They would say she's black, but according to the scriptures, she's an Edomite. Case in point, this is her father. You see, now unless her father's an Israelite foreigner, which from what I've been hearing, it's highly unlikely. So this woman is an Edomite. You see? So the world, and we were taken out of the world. We're supposed to be contrary to this world. This world opposes the Most High. Remember James 4:4? If you're going to be a friend of the world, you're an enemy of God. Roughly paraphrasing, I believe that's James 4:4. The world is carnal. Leave that to the world, man. Leave that to the Edomites. Leave that to all this, all these other people. We're supposed to be spiritual. We're supposed to examine the whole matter. We're supposed to be just. Calling this woman a Jake because she looks like a so-called Negro that's not just. Okay? That's not just, and it's damn sure not justified by the scriptures, because according to the scriptures, this woman is irrelevant when it comes to her race, her nationality. That's her race, her nationality, standing right in the middle. Okay? And that's an important thing to understand too, man. There's 18 nations and not a single one of these is white or black. You see? All these are the biblical names of these nations on the right side, you see? So, case in point, man. All right? So, Lord, will this was edifying to elect, giving all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bashem, Al Shai, Bashem, Kakadash. Now, honors be to the apostle and the elders, great most going to rule well. Peace, blessing, salutations to the hopeful elect. That says Shalom, Martha above. All right? More than meets the eye, man. Examine the whole matter. All right? Judge the spirit by the spirit. Shalom.